Okay, topic number 3. It's a big one. We've talked about the possibility. It has happened. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration banning the use of red dye number 3 in food, beverages, and ingested drugs more than 30 years since scientists have discovered links to cancer in animals. The agency announcing today that this is happening. We've got Dr. Shaker with us to break this all down. I think this is very welcome news for a lot of people. You know, we've been using beets to color things red, so let's move on to more natural things other than something that we know is linked to cancer and has been proven.
Well, Marina, I really, really like your energy about this. It's been good news across the board. I've been hearing a lot about it over the last couple of weeks, especially. Let's dive into some of the specifics, right? It's a food coloring. It's flavorless. It's from petroleum. It's in food, supplements, medication. It was in a lot of cosmetics in the 1990s, but it was outlawed around that time just to reduce the amount of supply because it's causing cancer in rats. What's interesting here is there's not really a lot of new information. So when you ask, hey, why all of a sudden now? I think essentially a lot of our lawmakers and our oversight committees are maybe waking up. They're raising the standard for the rest of the population, and that's a good thing overall.
Now listen, I've been fighting red dye. My mother's red dye fight started in the 70s, early 70s. I was the only kid in the hood asking the ice cream truck, does this have red dye in it? So my question really is about why now. It goes back to your whole why now thing and other things that we're trying to get banned. Will we have to see 40 and 50 years before these things get banned, or will this signal a new trend? And let's start getting some of this stuff out of our food supply.
So, Joe, you're absolutely right. It's not a new issue. It's been going on for a long time. I think we have we had 9, now we have 8 approved food dyes in the U.S. And this is a pretty bipartisan decision. I know people think it's maybe because the new administration is coming in, but on the same token, Gavin Newsom in California did the same move a couple of years ago, and this ban for California is set to take into effect in 2027, and this will be the same thing. In the U.S. across the board, the FDA has said that it should be out of foods in 2027, January, and out of drugs a year later in 2028. And that just has to do with the formulations to make sure that the medication is all still appropriate. I think the last thing is, Marina, you touched on maybe applying beets as a more natural food color. There's a transition that's likely to go to red dye 40 that people should be paying attention to. That's one that's still approved across the country. It's still approved in Europe. It can have some allergic reactions, and it does cause very similar attention issues, but none of the cancer-related effects.
Attention issue?
I mean,
Doc,
yeah.
What attention issue?
Because I'm sure that all these dyes are bad
I don't
for
want
you
to
in some
rain on
way.
anyone's parade.
Okay, I got it. So we're giving up cancer, but we won't be able to sit still and pay attention.
I mean, here's the thing, like,
come on,
we
America.
have to do a full overhaul. Yes, this is a fine start. Red dye 3, great. It's in everything. Skittles, Doritos, Pop-Tarts. I mean, you name it.
Hey, don't you say nothing about no Pop-Tart.
It's in the Pop-Tart. It's ubiquitous. I know that, but so is everything else bad. Our food has to be overhauled from baby food to supplements to all the way everywhere.
I'm with you.
Dr. Shaker.
My one plea. No, go ahead, Marina.
No, you finish up.
Please, my one plea to people is that they don't need government officials. They barely need even doctors at some point to tell you what is good and isn't bad. We can read up on food labels. We have to be paying attention to the things that we're eating and drinking. In this country, there's so much out there. The amount of ultra-processed food is roughly 70%. And not all of it's bad, but I think a lot of our attention to detail is really, really lacking. When I'm educating patients about diet, I'm really just educating them about trying to see what's in their food, making their own food, purchasing things with a specific attention to detail about what's healthy, what's not, what's going to harm you, and what's good for you over the long term. So don't wait for the FDA. This isn't going to happen until 2027. They'll start the process, but there's still a lot of time. You should be going out of your way now to reduce these things as we can.
But here's the thing. Anything with a label is pretty much bad for you. I mean, that's the truth. You look at mayonnaise, anything has a seed oil, inflammatory, you name it. And honestly, even our chicken, which is something like protein, it depends what you... I mean, I'm not wrong here. I know, say what you want, but it's across the board.
Tell them. No, I'm with you.
Lettuce now does not even have the same nutrition. Lettuce that it did 30 years ago because of the earth, of how quickly we're putting chemicals to regrow, to put it out there, to keep up with supply chain. I mean, it's on and on and on. Dr. Shaker, we could be here till 2 in the morning. I'd be blue in the face talking about this. But anyways,
don't get me started about the bread. Thank you so much.
Marina, this conversation is making me lose weight, Marina, so I can't eat anything. You're right.
Even the oxygen's polluted. So anyways, but Dr. Shaker, thank you so much. I think we start somewhere, we work our way up, and then we'll see you in the